Segun Ladiga designed the building. He says a number of factors such as climate change and intimacy were considered in putting up a circular hut-inspired structure. It is supported by 53 pillars representing the bank's 53 member countries at the time of the design. South Sudan became its 54th member after the design was completed.
Oh yes, how we came up with the design and the concept, there were a number of factors that were put together. One were the local building regulations, which played quite a significant part in what we did here. It's a very large site, and the regulations in the city here require a minimum footprint size and a minimum building height. However, the client also required a particular floor area of usable space. So what we chose to do was to do a building with an atrium. First, the atrium enables us to have a large communal space in the center of the building, which could be used for all kinds of activities, get-together activities, breakout space, and exhibition space. So it becomes a utility, a social space in the middle of the office building. The atrium, secondly, of course, means that you have a big cylinder with a hollow in the middle. We're able to fulfill the footprints. We're able to also make a very useful space in the center of the building. Atrium also acts as a shaft to move air through the building. So you have a large space that is naturally ventilated, but practically like it's trapped in between. Now, this again means that we are able to reduce the energy demand in the building significantly, because the amount of air conditioning you need to be comfortable in this building is almost like 40% less than you would have in a building of same dimensions, designed conventionally. So that's one critical point about it. Secondly, was to create an intimate, friendly office space that promotes, you see, the whole idea is to promote interaction, create a space that makes for, at times, spontaneous engagement between people in the course of using the building. Externally, we've also designed a building that has some typical African feel to it. In terms of first, the shape, the circular huts is very, very pervasive all over the African landscape as traditional buildings. It's also a very efficient form in terms of heat transmission into the building. A circular building takes in very little heat because you have just a small face of the building at any time open to direct heat, maximum heat exposure. We've then gone further to use high performance glass. This is high performance glass. This cuts heat transmission again by a further 75%, in addition to the fact that the building itself is naturally shaded in terms of the shape.
A 5-story building built on a footprint of 1,500 square meters. The entire plot is of 7,600 square meters. And this building is able to have a workstation of about 250 staff, inclusive of the meeting room and also the other facilities. This building is equipped of access control, smart access control view card. So any staff based here can use his card to enter. Even staff on mission can use it. We have video surveillance, more than 64 cameras surrounding the building to check. We have also building automation solution, and we have what is very new here is the electrical car chargers that we have provided at the parking lots. Design itself first is a low consumption building because of the big atrium, and also you can see we have two envelopes, which means that the heat cannot come easily in. So we can make the power consumption very less for the cooling of the building. That's come from the structural design. Secondly, we have a building automation system that is helping for the operating of the building. So this can help for power consumption, less power consumption. And when you visit an office, you will see the light will come on when you enter. When you go out, it will stop, which means you don't need to give more instruction to staff to stop and off, put the power on and stop it when we are leaving. It goes automatically.
So it's a very special event today for the ADB. This is the first regional office that they've opened in their, I believe, 54-year history or something. It's been in the works for quite a long time. So, it's quite a special event. And for all of us that deal with the ADB, it's good that they have an office here that we can now deal with. DFIs are extremely important. So they're a very significant source of funding. But more important than that, actually, they're also a very significant source of knowledge and best practice. So it's one thing to bring funding into a country or project, but you want to make sure that that project has the best chance possible of succeeding and also of having the impact that it's supposed to have. And DFIs spend a lot of time and effort not only preparing the projects to give them the best chance of succeeding, but actually also monitoring and evaluating projects afterwards to learn lessons so that they can improve what they do going forward. So I think they're extremely valuable, and this is a very important day for Nigeria.
Nigeria is the AFDB's largest shareholder with an estimated portfolio of $6 billion. The country's finance minister, Kemi Adeosun, has made a formal request to host the African Development Bank's regional hub in Nigeria.
Indeed, I think it is time to accord Dr. Adesina what the AFDB are known for, a high five for his dynamic and responsive leadership at the AFDB. And it has ushered in so many landmark achievements, of which this building is just one. This new office complex will no doubt strengthen Nigeria's efforts and our desire for regional integration in the West African region. It is in this regard that I'd like to put on record Nigeria's strong desire and, if you may permit me, our demand to host the regional hub for West Africa here in Nigeria. We think that as the largest shareholder in the AFDB since inception, and the country with one of the largest portfolios, and also the largest economy in Africa, we deserve to be the regional hub for the AFDB, and therefore want to lend our voice to that sentiment that we would like you, Mr. President, to please convey this official and formal request to the senior management and to the executive board of the AFDB that Nigeria wishes to be the regional hub.
Since its founding in 1964, the African Development Bank has evolved into one of the most efficient vehicles for the economic development and integration of the African continent. The bank has faithfully played its role as a trusted advisor and an honest broker in our region, and has also earned its place as the voice of Africa on development issues. As the continent's premier financial institution, it is at the center of Africa's transformation to bring real and lasting progress to the lives of African people. While Africa has made significant strides in economic growth and in poverty reduction, much remains to be done. The goal is clear: to eradicate poverty, to create more inclusive socio-economic development, and to integrate the continent. To do so, the continent needs to promote growth that creates jobs and provides economic opportunities for all. To contribute to this agenda, the African Development Bank, through the high fives unveiled by Dr. Adesina when he took office in 2015, is, in our view, right on track, especially by investing more in infrastructure, especially power and water, agriculture, education, healthcare, and increased access, in particular, to affordable energy and water. More importantly, the bank is to be commended for its ongoing efforts to close the gender gap, empower women and youths, and to ultimately strengthen and expand social safety nets for our most vulnerable populations.
One of the activities leading up to the commissioning of the landmark building was the AFDB's Junior Art Contest, tagged "Farming is Cool." It was to promote agriculture's potential to Nigeria's secondary school children and inspire a generational shift in the sector. The announcement of the month-long competition's winners was one of the highlights of the ceremony. All three winners received partial scholarships of 1 million naira, 500,000 naira, and 250,000 naira.
Just like we all know, farming is a cool business, and if you check it, the youths of nowadays, they don't like participating in farming activities, thinking maybe it's only for those that are old. But the main thing is that farming is a nice business. When you participate in it, most especially fish farming, it's a very nice business, and also another way of getting income. When I saw the team, farming is cool, I remember back then when me and my mom would go to the farm, do one or two things. So I said, okay, let me just depict it in my painting. First, to sponsor myself in school, and also to get one or two art materials, and to also help my parents because they are farmers.
Farming is just, it's cool in the sense that when you sell, you gain. When you gain, you get money to pay your bills around, then you live a comfortable life. Just advise people that are into farming to continue what they are doing because it's a very nice thing.
For the AFDB, the plan is to make agriculture inclusive across Africa. In an exclusive interview with CNBC Africa, Director of Human Capital, Youth and Skills Development of the AFDB, Ole Dibawada, gave details of the African Leaders for Nutrition initiative, as well as efforts required to harness Africa's human capital for growth.
That in the African continent, I don't think poverty should be an excuse. We are all, a majority of the Africans are farmers. So we grow, we have organic food, but we use them, sometimes we use part of it for consumption, the others we use to sell them. So I think what is important is to educate the poor people on the importance of having a balanced diet. You can have mangoes. I mean, kids eat mangoes. We grow rice. We have cassava. So what is important is to educate them to be able to ensure that they have a balanced diet, that it doesn't just focus on one area or one particular nutrient, but to really spread it across. I don't think it's poverty per se. I think it's an awareness of how do we balance what we have, because a lot of what we have, most of it is free. It's grown, homegrown. We are rich. We have rich soils, and it's homegrown. So I think what we need to do is to educate and create that awareness, and to also get the governments to ensure that they put in place policies that support really understanding the dynamics of nutrition and having nutritious food. Another area that I think our governments need to look at is ensuring that there are policies, particularly within the markets, on what is being sold for consumption. I think that is very, very fundamental, because we keep eating what we don't understand, what we don't know how it is manufactured. And I think it's important that we really look at all of those holistically. I think the first start will be political will. Political will to make sure that we put nutrition at the heart of what we do. And the second part is also educating the policymakers. It starts going down to different levels. So from the heads of state to the ministries, to the actors, to the civil society organization, sensitization. So those are the key steps that we will take. But at our level here, what we felt was fundamental was to bring together the leaders first, because that's where the buck stops. They are the ones that can make or break this initiative, and to get them to really engage and to commit to it. Unfortunately, 90% of them are all converted and are committed, but I think it's a way of really supporting them. What we are doing in the bank now is to really look at capacity building of nutrition across the entire bank. So all the sectors that we have in the African Development Bank will ensure that we are mainstreaming nutrition. So when we are building initiatives on water and sanitation, on agriculture, on gender issues, on education, we make sure that nutrition is mainstreamed
across all the different areas. So that's one key start that we're doing. The African Development Bank has also set up the African Leaders for Nutrition Secretariat that is being funded and supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So the Secretariat is now on course, and we hope that with this team that we have, we will be able to work and looking at banking on nutrition, where we are mainstreaming nutrition across the bank, and then looking at how we support the champions to build capacity to ensure nutrition at the country level. So we're looking at it in two folds.
Just as it began, a timeout with the media marked the end of the commissioning ceremony. The final decision to build the AFDB's first permanent office in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, follows the bank's board of directors' approval and recommendation for an office in Nigeria. The construction, which started in January 2016, took 16 months to complete. The plan is to replicate the 220 staff capacity 4-story building across member countries of the AFDB. After the break, we'll take a look at the bank's projections for the African continent in its recently launched African Economic Outlook 2018.